It is great to be joined by the new head coach of the Xavier Musketeers. He is Richard Pitino. After a remarkable run with the New Mexico Lobos, now Richard is in the Big East. And that last name for Big East fans is one that we are all more than familiar with. Richard, congratulations on being the leader of this Xavier program. I know that it is a whirlwind jumping into this job. But the moment that you saw this particular job open up, what was your thought process?
Just thought it felt right. Now, I will say this, Xavier's always traditionally hired a Xavier guy. So I had some other options, and I wasn't positive I wanted to leave New Mexico. I'm going to be honest. I really loved it there and greatly appreciated the way they treated me and my family. But I just felt like the Big East, if I could have an opportunity to be there, it would be a dream come true. So I didn't know if Xavier would call. I really didn't because of that past Xavier guy experience. But when I got the call, and I've told this story, like, you know, I don't necessarily listen to my dad because I am 42 years old and I have my own family and I kind of have charted my own path. But he was always adamant, do not leave New Mexico. Do not leave New Mexico. But when this one popped up, it just felt right. And, walking around the campus, I look at the students, I see me at Providence College, and it just feels right.
Going along the lines of that, you're at New Mexico where obviously basketball is such a priority and there's such a community driven for it. The pit, phenomenal. I mean, one of the phenomenal atmospheres in the sport. What's interesting, Richard, is when people talk about campus environments in this sport, Xavier is even unique in the Big East because there's a lot of pro buildings. MSG with St. John's. Georgetown plays at a pro building. Seton Hall plays in downtown Newark. Marquette plays at the Five Serve Forum. Even Creighton, it's a pro style building in downtown Omaha. Well, what's the value of that when you think about this Xavier program? And I'm not asking you to compare New Mexico to Xavier or whatnot, but I will say, like, it's pretty clear anytime anybody's been around Xavier in that neighborhood that basketball, you've got a pro style interest in a college town.
I wasn't going to leave New Mexico unless something could somewhat replicate that experience in the pit. It is an advantage. You have to have certainly NIL rev share is very important, but there's got to be a reason why you go to a place. And yes, my coaching staff style of play, but it's got to be something else. And for me, Cintas Center was that. And like you said, I mean, there is a uniqueness of on campus in the Big East, that why do you choose this place over somewhere else? Well, you see the one-stop shop of practice facility in here, weight room, academics, food, all that. And then you've got game night. Unbelievable. I'm close friends with Sean Miller, and Sean and I spoke a lot during the season about a variety of things. And he just said, man, those 18 to 20 games you play in this building are special. And so that was probably number one on my list of reasons to take a job. I didn't want the downtown arena. They're all great, but I wanted something that was our building, and the Cintas Center certainly is that.
Putting together a roster for coaches who are staying at schools and have been there for a few years. That's hard enough. Putting together a roster in this climate as a guy taking a job, it's not something that anybody necessarily envies. You are doing this right now. You are trying to get commitments as we speak. But for the folks who may not be as familiar with a Richard Pitino player, when you're on these calls, when you're talking with these players and their families, what would you say in the dictionary would be defined as a Richard Pitino player at Xavier University?
Well, I kind of made the shift when I went from the Big Ten at Minnesota to New Mexico of really committing to playing with pace. And, from an offensive standpoint, I watched a lot of Gonzaga basketball and had a lot of talks with Coach Few and being out west about, I don't want when an opponent scores on us for everybody to look over at me with the board up and say, this is what we're going to run. I don't want that. I want to be in a position where I give them some things to run. It's free flowing and they go play basketball. And then defensively, we were top 20 in the country and, defensive efficiency the last 2 years. We averaged over 9 steals per game. We blocked shots. We were top 5 in the country in fast break points. So much of it is pace. And, you got to be in great shape. You got to love the game. Yes, there's so much that comes with NIL and all that. That's great, but it still comes down to, do you love winning? Do you love the game? And, it's all about fit we're trying to put all the pieces together, right? And everybody's doing it. Everybody's losing a lot of guys, but we want to compete for Big East championships. I know we're behind the 8 ball a little bit more than others right now, but we still got plenty of time.
And that goes back to at any job, there's always the messaging point, right? Of we want to win championships. But around the Cintas Center, inside that building, it feels like the words actually get put into the fray of reality because your leadership, the people that are helping to oversee the program, like Richard, a lot of coaches say this, and we've even heard it in the recent weeks with different coaches in their situations. You could say all you want, what you want to do, but if you don't have uniformity at the top, it doesn't really matter. And right now in college basketball, from school to school, even schools that have been successful, doesn't mean that head coach, AD are always on the same page. Xavier feels different in that regard. How would you immediately reflect?
Not to put ADs on the spot, but they can't hide anymore about their commitment level to winning or not. It's very, very simple now. It used to be, practice facilities, chartered flights, this and that. Like everybody's got that now. And now we've got to make decisions about, are we going to truly invest or not? And that's kind of what I said about, like, it can't be all on the head coach anymore. Um, you know, it's a responsibility of the boosters, the stakeholders, the athletic director and they're hard decisions, but to make decisions of how they're going to invest. And that's why I wanted to be in the Big East. It's not that I don't love football. I love football, but the resources are going to go to the places where they're trying to win. And, I think New Mexico really taught me that. So ADs all say it. We want to compete for championships. Well, show us the dollar amount of which you're going to invest into this program to get that return on the investment within reason. I'm not going to come in here and flip desks and say, give me all the money and nobody, like, no, it's got to be fair to everybody. I totally understand that. But after meeting with Greg Christopher, it was very apparent that they want to win and they don't want to take a step back. Sean built an amazing foundation. We don't have a lot of leftover players from what he did, but so many coaches have won here in the past, and we cannot drop off in any regard there.
How nice is it to be able to say, show up to conference meetings and show up to other talks and say, I'm what, 30, over 30 years younger than the oldest coach in this league?
Very nice. Are you kidding me? Yeah. He has been notorious for skipping league meetings. And he texted me 2 days ago when I got the job and goes, are you going to league meetings? I go, you're the only one who skips league meetings. So yes, I will be there. So I think Val Ackerman should thank me because I think we're going to be able to get him to go down there and maybe we get some dinner or something. But yeah, that part's really cool. Like, do I love playing against him? Like, no, we're all really close and we root for each other. But I'll say this: he wants to finish first. He wants me to finish second. I
Right.
want to finish first, and I want him to be second. So we're still very much going to be a part of each other's success. But those 2 or 3 nights out of the year, we're both going to want to certainly beat each other.
You've talked about looking at Mark Few's stuff and other things that you've taken because at 42, you've seen a lot in your head coaching career already. Uh, in terms of your philosophy, what other things would you say have developed as a result of your experience, and how beneficial is it in your shoes to have seen the highest of highs from winning a conference tournament, which is something that you certainly have done, to winning a regular season championship, which is something that you just did, to the seasons that you've had, as a two-time conference coach of the year. Like when you look at the highs, the lows, the everything in this sport can bring, between that and then how different things have developed, what are the benefits?
Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. I had 8 amazing years at Minnesota. We did win. We just didn't have the consistency that I would like. Um, but I will say this: it's just my understanding of the whole perspective of this thing. For one, it is not all on me to win, and I think maybe early in the process, I just wanted to show a Tom Izzo, a Bo Ryan, a Matt Painter, like I'm a great coach. I don't care about that anymore. What I care about is building a staff, recruiting the best players for Xavier, and then let's all work together to win. I don't care who gets the credit. None of that matters to me anymore. Understanding whatever job I take, like I, I, I can't be the only one who has done it, right? And you look here, I mean, every coach has won. And, so I'm just trying to do it certainly my own way, but what so many coaches have done in the past. Um, so it's not necessarily an X's and O. That's not really it. I've become a much better staff manager, be able to empower my assistants better than I ever did early on in Minnesota. And, it's a way more collaborative effort. And that's probably what I've learned the most.
How many people have mentioned the crosstown shootout to you since you took this job?
A lot. Yeah. I mean, I certainly understand how important it is. It's not going to be easy. If I said yesterday, if we played the game right now, we'd have to forfeit because we don't have enough players. But, I know whenever the date is of that game, this whole city goes crazy over it.
True.
And, that's special. I love that it's once a year. Like we played New Mexico State twice a year. I didn't like that. Now, New Mexico State's further away. But yeah, to be able to do it in the same city. What's cool about here is you got the Reds, you got the Bengals, you've got minor or pro soccer, but to have two really good basketball programs in one city, that's going to be amazing to be a part of.
Has How many people have taught you about Skyline Chili? And I'm guessing you're open minded. You're going to give it a try at some point here.
Got to give it a try. The irony is, I came from New Mexico where they always talked about red and green chili spelled differently. And then this is a different type of chili. But yeah, when I got to my hotel, I had a huge gift basket of Skyline chili. So I can't wait. I can't believe. I mean, the city is amazing. I had been here a couple of times, but I hadn't been here a couple of years. Downtown is thriving. The suburbs are phenomenal. The food is amazing as well. So definitely looking forward to diving into all things Cincinnati.
Last but not least, Richard, you just said it. You're a guy who went to Providence, so you know this league, and obviously you know it well through your dad as well. But to be able to say every single March that you're gonna now fly to New York City and play it at the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden, it's not something that you're unfamiliar to. Uh, I'm sure it'll sink in closer to that itself, but just this league. I mean, we talk the coaches in this conference that have been doing it in a variety of ways for a long time to now be in that fraternity, to call MSG home a couple of times a year. What's that all mean?
A lot more than people think. And I know in recruiting we'll try to sell it, but I think our profession is so NCAA tournament centric that they may overlook that. Providence College for 4 years. If I wasn't working, we were hopping on that train, a couple buddies, and we were going to Madison Square Garden. And you're watching games all day. One of my favorite moments as a coach was winning the Big East tournament as an assistant coach at Louisville, beating Syracuse in Madison Square Garden. And I tell my team that all the time, even not knowing I'd be in the Big East. But that building is special. That experience is amazing. If you can get to Friday night, oh my goodness, the buildup is phenomenal. So we make sure we explain it to everybody how good, because it's all a journey, right? And to be a part of that journey in a basketball conference where everybody's being reminded every single day that football is king, and we get to have this amazing basketball conference is something special.
He did one of the best jobs in America in these recent years at New Mexico. Just incredible. And they won a tournament game this season over Marquette. And now the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers is Richard Pitino. Richard, congratulations again. Thanks. Look forward to catching up as we continue.
Awesome, John. Thank you.